Saturday morning cartoons. It was huge during the age of TV, but to be honest, I didn't really grow up with it that much of a kid. It was an era where TV shows existed for one reason: to sell products. I mean, seriously. Some of these shows felt like that's the only reason they existed. But there was also tons of shows that were based off already existing series. And when it came to these, the biggest name in the game was Pokemon. A TV show based on the incredibly popular video game series. I mean, it was made to be a hit. And it was, obviously. As the TV show is still ongoing and it has tons of spin-offs, merchandise, movies, just tons of stuff. And it led to a lot of other TV shows getting really popular, like Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh!, other older, already existing series that got their own TV shows, and even a couple newer ones like Beyblade. And all of these kind of ended up having the same premise, teens playing the game, but there's like magic, evil entities, demons, etc., etc. None of these really stood out to me that much as a kid. I mean, I would watch them occasionally, but I never really paid them too much mind. That was, except for one show, Bakugan.
This show was cool! Even though it had, the same plot as pretty much every other ripoff, successor. Teens playing games and sometimes evil? I don't know why, but this is the one that caught me out of all of them. I pretty much never miss an episode until that weird third iteration, but we're not going to talk about that. What do you do when you have a successful toy brand geared towards kids? You make a video game for it and you put it on the console most families in this generation own. So, quick story. When I was younger, the only console I had for a long time was a Wii, and getting new games was pretty rare. It was basically your birthday and Christmas. You maybe got a game or two, and knowing my parents, it would usually be some shovelware trash I probably would play for 10 minutes before putting back and then just playing Mario Brothers for the 15th time. So one of the ways to combat this, as a kid I found, is that my local library would rent out games for a week at a time. And I used to be hitting that place up all the time. Not for them books, for them games. And one day, I found Bakugan on the Wii. As soon as I figured out they had a game based on my favorite show, I grabbed the thing as fast as possible, got home, and reached enlightenment. I had so much fun that week, and I kept it the whole entire time. And I remember bringing it back. I was like, man, I'm gonna rent this game so much. And then whoosh, it vanished. Every single time I went to the library after that, I would check every shelf, every game, but Bakugan was gone. Someone must have taken it and not bring it back. Thieves! I called for justice, but nobody heard. So, sadly, I had to move on. There were other games that needed to be played. But there was a little doubt in my mind upon bringing it home. You see, kids are dumb, and I was a part of that trend. Young me pretty much liked any game, even if it wasn't that good. For example, I remember I used to enjoy playing Mega Man X7. You know, the bad one. So I was a little worried. What if Bakugan wasn't as good as I remember? What if my memories are not true? What if I'm holding the game to unrealistic standard? And yeah, I'm just kidding. This game is actually great. So even though it's pretty much the same as all these other shows I talked about earlier, let's talk story. If you've never watched the original Bakugan cartoon, the gist is one day a bunch of random cards and figures just rain down from the sky, and a bunch of kids get together and make a game out of it, until they realize it's deeper than just a game, and there's evil scientists and villains and yada yada. Product placement. The main protagonist is a kid named Dan, and his friends form a group called the Bakugan Battle Brawlers to combat evil. However, although the game uses the basic plot and the characters, the story is actually unique. Is that effort? In a TV show tie-in game? Unheard of. So you start the game off and make your own character. Sadly, there's only a boy characters though, so ladies, I'm sorry, but you won't be able to project yourself onto your character as easily. So after icing your boy out, you choose the main element you want your Bakugan to be. There's Pyrus, Aquas, Ventus, Subterra, Chaos, and Darkus. Or, if you've played any RPG ever, fire, water, wind, ground, light, and dark. Also, how come everything ends with an S except Subterra? It's like they had a theme, but then couldn't think of a good idea for ground types. I guess Earthus didn't work well enough. So, for this playthrough, I decided to play with Darkus as my type. 1, because I didn't want to be boring and choose Aquas like I always would as a kid, and 2, because of the edge. Dark blacks and purple, dude, you know, listening to MCR, pure edge. Anyway, the game begins with your character in a park getting picked on by some bullies. This is when you might realize something pretty insane.
Hey, I wasn't making fun of you guys.
Admit it, punk. You were making fun of the way I battle. Right, Akira?
That's what I heard. What's your problem?
Did he just speak? Oh my god, it's a game where the main character is actually voice acted. I know some people say that they prefer silent protagonists as you're better able to put yourself in their place, but I'll always prefer voice acting myself. I think it adds to the character, you know, you get more of an emotion out of them. It's not just a stock face the entire game, you get actual facial expressions, you get to see them react to things. So anyway, you're being confronted by these really aggressive bullies, but luckily Dan from the Battle Brawler steps in to help you out.
No problem. I'll show you some of my old tricks, and if you're lucky, I won't even charge you.
Aw, thanks Dan. So let's go over the basic rules of Bakugan. Bakugan is a card-based game where each player has 3 gate cards, 3 ability cards, and 3 Bakugan. Each player begins the game by placing a gate card face down. On your turn, you can also choose to place up to 1 more gate card on the field if you wish, and then you throw your Bakugan onto the field and try to land it on a gate card. The next player does the same thing on their turn as well. Once there are 2 Bakugan on 1 card from each player, a battle starts. At the start of a battle, the owner of the gate card opens it. Each gate card has bonuses that are given depending on the element of your Bakugan, and some also have different effects that can change the battle itself. After that, each player has the option to use their ability cards to boost their G power or change the game even further. Now, you can use as many ability cards as you want, however you only have 3, and you can only use them once. They do not come back. Well, there is one way to get them back, but we'll get to that later. Then, there's the battle phase. There are 3 different types depending on the color of the gate card. Gold gate cards are shooting battles. Now, obviously since this is a game on the Wii, all these battles are done with motion controls. For the shooting battle, you're given a cursor and you try to shoot at symbols corresponding to your Bakugan's element. Shoot the right one and you get more G power. Shoot the wrong one and you lose G power. Simple. Also, each type of battle has different difficulties they can be depending on how far you are in the game. Shooting level 2 and 3 are pretty much the same as the first, except occasionally a gold symbol appears that if you shoot gives a massive G power boost. Next, silver gate cards. My personal favorite. These give you a timing battle where you're given 3 rows of button prompts and symbols are sent that you have to time presses to. Basically a simple rhythm game. Hitting the button at the right time gives you a boost, missing or mistiming buttons lowers your G power. The only difference between the difficulties is the types of prompts that will appear. Level 1 is only the A button, and level 2 adds the B button, and then level 3 adds shaking, which you have to be really precise with. Lastly are the copper gate cards, which result in shaking battles. This one's probably the simplest to grasp. Shake like your life depends on it. Which, in some cases, it might actually. Level 1 is shake. That's it. Level 2 sometimes makes you stops, and if you keep shaking even though the screen says to stop, you'll lose tons of G power. Finally, there's level 3 where you have to shake the Wii remote in certain ways. At the end of a battle, the player with the higher G power wins, and they get that gate card. Win 3 gate cards and you win. Phew! You got all that? Good. Because there's more to gameplay, but we'll go back to story for a little bit before getting into that, shall we? After learning the basics and beating Shuji, you thank Dan and talk about how you want a Bakugan like his Drago. You see in the TV show there were lots of Bakugan, but there were some special ones that could talk and were more unique than others. Every main character had one, for example, Dan's Drago. Dan says you have potential and should enter a tournament to show your skills. Sounds cool, so you head off to the store to look for more Bakugan. The store is run by Alice, another one of the battle brawlers. After battles, you'll receive points you can use to buy Bakugan, ability cards, or gate cards. You can actually buy any type of Bakugan you want, so you have a lot of customization available. But I've always played through the main game, only using the element I choose at the beginning to give me more of a challenge. You can also upgrade Bakugan stats, but we'll also talk about those later. After looking around the shop, you head back to the park and cutscene.
Oh, I'll be a battle brawler. Someday. Huh? What's going on? Whoa! What? A Bakugan? Wow! I've never seen one like this before.
Where am I?
Planet Earth.
Not in Vestroia, then?
Who are you?
My name is Leonidas.
Hey, you want to partner with me? I bet we could beat anyone.
If I battle with you, I'll have the chance to defeat other Bakugan?
Yeah, we'll beat them all.
I sense that in this world, I will only release my true power in these Bakugan battles.
Was that a yes? Awesome! Great to meet you, partner.
Yeah, you saw that right. We get our own Bakugan. This hits me right in the nostalgia every time. As a kid, this was the coolest thing to me. We get our own Bakugan. Even though he was just a dragon like Drago, he was still cool to me. I mean, if you haven't realized, my name is Twin Dragos. The Dragos is short for dragons, because I like dragons. So for me, it's a win. So, after having a test battle with our new Bakugan, we head off to a tournament where we actually get another cutscene with even a little bit more character development. We're talking with Leonidas and we can't help but feel he's just a little too aggressive when it comes to battling.
Wow, my first tournament. Talk about competition. Runo and Marucho are entered.
They're just names to me. I will crush them.
What's the deal? You sound angry.
I'm not angry, I just don't fear weak humans.
Don't freak me out. It's like you hate every Bakugan or something. Lighten up, will ya?
As you say, let's battle.
Stop right there. Is that subtlety? Jesus, this game has better storytelling than The Last of Us 2. He seems a little defensive about it, but it's nice to see us interacting with him for now. But we have a tournament to win. Even though 2 of the battle brawlers were participating, we were able to win and we're congratulated by Dan for our success. But then we're also confronted by Marucho, who brings up that none of the Bakugan that appear when the worlds first converged know who Leonidas is, and suggests he might have ulterior motives. Runo also backs him up, noting how aggressive he was in battle, and also dares to suggest we find a new partner. That leads to our hero to totally shut her down.
Maybe you should find a different partner.
Tigrera is just jealous.
Clapback. Dan doesn't seem to be on board with Runo and Marucho, however, and suggests that the best way to convince them that Leonidas and you are partners is to beat them in the upcoming doubles tournament. Doubles? That's not the normal game mode. Looks like we're gonna have another tutorial. So doubles is actually basically just you have a teammate and you collectively need to get 3 gate cards. Not so different, but this new tournament also introduces a new arena, the Aquas Arena. Remember earlier when I said I have a lot more to talk about in terms of gameplay? Well, here it is. So, if you've been paying attention, you might have noticed during the gameplay that Bakugan were moving around the map on their own. Well, after throwing your Bakugan, of course, by using motion controls, you're then able to move around your Bakugan by pressing the B button and also using motion controls. Again. You can also jump your Bakugan, you guessed it, by swinging that Wiimote. Yeah, I'm not going to subject you to watching Squidward again. Now, This isn't all that useful in the first level as it's just an empty field, but almost all the rest of the arenas in the game will all be completely different. First off, they're huge and full of goodies. You'll notice all these tokens and cards and floating hexagons, so let's go over all those first. The tokens are G-Power. Pick them up and your Bakugan will gain more G-Power than they usually start off with. Picking up cards can give different rewards to you and possibly punishments to your enemy. So, let's go over these card abilities real quick. Firstly, there's Damage and Jamming Field, where once you land on a gate card, your Bakugan emits a field of energy. Damage Field reduces the G-Power of any Bakugan that comes in contact with it, and Jamming Field reduces their Bakugan's endurance. Then, there's Shield and Stealth. Shield protects you from sphere attacks. Don't worry, we'll get there. And Stealth makes your Bakugan invisible. I guess to surprise your opponent that the gate card they actually landed on has a Bakugan on it, but I really think it's only useful on the 4-player modes where you could actually possibly forget that there's a Bakugan there, but it also protects from sphere attacks, so it is actually pretty helpful. The last 2 cards affect your opponent's turn. Mirror flips the way their Bakugan controls, which, to be honest, isn't really that hard to deal with, but then you got Confuse, which just messes your screen up a lot. Despite being annoying to look at, it actually can negatively affect your depth perception, so on a scale of usefulness, this one's also not that bad. Next, there's Hexy Boys. If you break these, you get a power-up to use in battle. First, you got G-Power Boost and G-Power Stall. G-Power Stall lowers your opponent's power gain during the battle minigame, and Booster boosts your own gains. Then, there's Clock Stopper, which prevents your enemy from doing anything, resulting in them losing a lot of ground. This is probably the best one, to be honest. Then, there's Fickle Finger of Fate. I hate Fickle Finger of Fate. It does something. I don't know what it does, but it does something. All I know is it screwed me over plenty of times and almost never helped me. So if you get it, throw it in the trash. Now, where do we find all these amazing power-ups? In the stages, which are full of different terrains, weird trails, and obstacles packed with trampolines, boost pads. Each stage brings in new routes, which is really where it gets good. Every time you get to a new stage, you have to learn it, find the best paths, and master it to get max benefits every time. There's also this weird system where you can shoot your opponent's Bakugan to manipulate their direction, but it's not really that useful, except on the AI maybe because they're brain dead. But if you run out of endurance or fall out of the map, you waste your turn and lose your upgrades. Sometimes wasting your turn is actually a strat, but we'll go over that later. I also didn't mention this earlier, but besides winning battles, there are actually other ways to get gate cards. If you land on a gate card with one of your Bakugan already on it, you can get a double stand and win a gate card. Or, if there's any other non-occupied gate cards, you can choose to move your Bakugan to one of those, but you should only really do that if you're really trying to flex how much better you are than somebody. Also, if all your Bakugan are out on gate cards undisturbed at the start of your turn, you can choose one to stay, and as long as that Bakugan remains undisturbed until your next turn, you'll also receive a gate card. And finally, the rarest form of gate card, the Sphere KO. I don't even have footage of this, but I know it exists as I did it once a long time ago. Basically, there's this thing in the game called Sphere Attacks. If your Bakugan comes in contact with another Bakugan on a gate card, you'll do damage to them before the battle begins. However, your Bakugan has to be moving pretty fast to do it, so it's only really possible to do it off of a throw, but that means you won't be getting any bonuses before the battle, so I never really use it unless it's a stage with no items. Now, it's very hard to do, but if you can do a sphere attack so powerful, it reduces the enemy's G power to 0, it will insta-kill them, and you win the battle. But it's really hard to do that much damage. And gameplay-wise, that's it. For now. So after Dan literally just sits in a corner and throws for the entire tournament, you just say screw it and do everything yourself. After winning the tournament, Dan suggests you should try out the new Battle Royale tournament. Oh, you know what time it is! New game mode, new tutorial, boys. So, Battle Royale. Literally just 4 players, but win 3 gate cards by yourself. It's that simple. However, when we arrive at the arena, we're greeted by Julie. another battle brawler, and she's not really happy to see us. So apparently Dan got beaten by someone badly, and for some reason Julie thinks it's us. You know, someone could literally just, you know, call Dan maybe and figure out who beat him, but oh no, you'd rather just fight me? Okay, whatever. So after making your way through the matches and getting totally counterpicked by Julie in the stage selection, you win yet again, but you're greeted by...
We did it again, Leonidas! We won! Whoa, what's that?
You call that a battle? That was nothing.
So apparently this is the guy that beat Dan. Okay. Because he has his Bakugan called Vladitor, who's actually from the Doom Dimension, and actually tells us that Leonidas is from the Doom Dimension, and asks if we want to join him, and it's like, no?
Leonidas, he's lying, right?
It's true. I was born from the hate and despair of the Bakugan locked deep in the Doom Dimension. All I wanted was to take my anger out on other Bakugan. But I've changed since I've met you.
Me?
Yes. Thanks to you, I've learned the importance of friendship and trust.
We've learned from each other. Friends always do. Whatever happens, you'll always be my partner.
Okay. I'm sorry that I keep showing all these cutscenes. I'm just way too freaking nostalgic for this game. I'm editing this shit right now. These cutscenes are way too good, y'all. This video is going to be long as hell. I'm sorry. Well, that happened, but we must continue. But hey, at least the Battle Brawlers trust us now and... Oh. Never mind. Alright, looks like we got another person to prove wrong. After curb stomping our way through the Ventus Arena, we're greeted by... Masquerade? Another villain from the TV show? Because Marduk wasn't from the TV show. But Masquerade's actually pretty cool. After, yet again, proving the opposition is inferior, we move on to the next tournament. Hey, want to hear me talk about gaming play even more? You think you have a choice. So let's talk about the shop. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but you can come here and use your hard-earned BP to buy Bakugan, new cards, and upgrades. Now you might be wondering something about what I said earlier. If you can get gate cards for doing such easy things like a double stand, why even try to start a battle? Well, yeah, you can beat someone by being a little bitch the whole game. You'll actually be punished for this playstyle. You see, beating an opponent Bakugan actually gives you extra BP at the end of a match. The tougher the opponent, the more cash you get. And while I would like to call this a good system, you honestly still get plenty of BP from just winning that it might not actually matter in the long run, because, well, you can use tons of BP to collect any number of new cards or Bakugans. For a casual playthrough, you don't really have a reason to do this. Bakugan's main problem is that the later game stuff is mostly just better than the older stuff. Why would I waste my time buying and upgrading a new Bakugan when a better one will come out after the next tournament? And the problem with cards is that if you're playing one element only like I do, you won't need to buy half of them. Ability cards can only be used by specific elements, so most of them I can't even use. And gate card wise, why would I not just buy the gate cards that benefit only my Bakugan the most? And while collecting everything in this game is fun, practically it doesn't affect as much as I would like it to. You also have pretty much an endless amount of cash since you can just keep refighting people in the park. Phew. See, I have some negative things to say too. So, while we're here, why don't we also talk about upgrading? Each Bakugan has 5 stats that you can upgrade along with their G-Power. First, their speed, which is how fast your Bakugan is thrown. Then, defense, which I'm pretty sure affects how much damage you would take from sphere attacks. Next, acceleration, which is how fast your Bakugan moves on the ground. Endurance, which is how much endurance they consume during certain moving actions. And finally, jump, which I feel like is pretty self-explanatory. I feel like I don't really need to explain any of those, actually, now that I really think about it. But either way, it's called padding the video, people. Each Bakugan has a different stat lineup, which might affect how you choose to upgrade all of them. all I know is that as a kid, all I would ever upgrade was their base G power because bigger number equals better. Again, just me proving again, I was a very stupid kid. But hey, whatever works, right? So now, let's move on to the next arena, the Pyrus tournament. And look, we finally get to challenge Dan. Oh, I see how it is, Dan. Wait until you have the stage advantage to come at me. I see. So after putting Dan in his place, we move on to the final tournament, the Chaos Arena. This is our final test to become a battle brawler, and we have to beat all of the other brawlers with their evolved Bakugan and rematch Masquerade and Marduk, once and for all. After beating Marduk and winning the tournament, Vladitor, Marduk's Bakugan, absorbs the power of the Silent Core, which, to be honest, I completely forgot existed up till now, and evolves himself and causes the worlds to converge into the final arena. Seeing as how everyone knows we're the ones best suited for the task, all of the other Bakugan lend us their power.
With everyone's power, Vladitor, I will stop your evil plan now and forever.
That's right, Omega Leonidas. When I was a kid, this is where I shit myself. Not only do I get my own Bakugan, but then he even evolves. It's just beautiful. Now, for the finale, which, to be honest, is actually pretty climactic. You got the darkest arena, the worlds are converging, Vladitor evolved and gets his special shot every turn. Also, I'm just now realizing I totally didn't mention special shots, but this video is way too long already, so if you're really that interested, just play the game yourself, man. The final battle uses 1v1 rules, which are actually really cool. You only get to use Leonidas, and Marduk only uses Vladitor, and you each take turns throwing out one gate card at a time. So you'll have to play on an opponent's gate card instead of your own sometimes. Vladitor also has a huge base G power, so you're going to have to pick up tons of boosts, or else you're not going to have a good time. He also has a special shot each turn, which for Darkest Bakugan lets him drain nearby Bakugan's power, so he'll steal some of your G power each turn. Unless you do what I do and miss your first shot on purpose and let him go first each round. It took me like 2 or 3 playthroughs before I realized this as a kid. Once again, dummy. Get your 3 gate cards and once again put Marduk in his place. The battle is over, but sadly our Bakugan must go. They used all their energy to fight and stop the world from converging. So, because plot, Leonidas and Vladitor must go back to the Doom Dimension. Which leads us to this heartwarming goodbye. Or, at least it might have been, but for some reason it doesn't show our face and looks like really awkward to me.
Partner, it looks like my time has come as well.
No, you can't leave me. Don't go, Leonidas, please.
Like, did they just not want to animate his face there or something? I don't know, but it looks really funny.
Goodbye. I'm proud to have done it.
Leonidas.
Vladitor! You can't! You can't just leave me here!
Vladitor may have been evil, but at least he had pride. Quit crying and stand up like a man.
You don't understand!
I know you really love Bakugan. Okay, so you lost your partner, but you're still here. Hang in there and you can play again. When you're up to it, challenge me to a Bakugan battle. Who knows, you might even win.
Watch out, kid! One day, I'll whip you good!
Maybe. I'll take your challenge anytime, but this time as a friend.
Wow. Besides absolutely destroying Marduk's career, that was actually kind of profound. We head back home and find our way back to the park where we first met Leonidas.
This is where I met Leonidas. What? It can't be.
How have you been, partner?
I can't believe it. Leonidas! I'm not dreaming, am I? What happened to you?
I don't really know what happened either. But just as he was about to vanish, Vladitor reached out and helped me.
Vladitor helped you?
He gave me his remaining powers. Said I deserved them. Maybe he wasn't all bad.
I don't know what to say, Leonidas. I'm so happy to see you. We'll never be apart again from now on.
Of course not. We're partners. I promise.
Bakugan!
And that's Bakugan for the Wii. This was a really long video, so I'm glad you stuck to the end. I'm hoping to start making more videos soon because I know it's been a while since I've posted any reviews, but hopefully I think I've got a couple things ready, so hopefully the wait in between videos won't be super long. But this is just a video that was kind of longer than I was expecting it to be. I have a lot to say about this game because I really love it, and there are even some things I totally forgot to mention, but maybe another time I'll make like a short addendum or something. But either way, if you want to see any more, you can check out some of my other videos on the channel, or I'm actually going to be starting Twitch streaming more, and I'm especially going to be streaming games that I'll probably be making reviews of. So if you want to see what I have, you can just go over to twitch.tv/twindragos. I'll put the link down in the description. But either way, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time.